Hello and welcome to today's lesson. We're going to learn how to create select lists. We'll go through a few attributes and I'll show you a better way to assign form labels. Here's a document with the blueprint of a form for flight ticket reservation. A drop-down list will work well if we want to select a starting point. I'm going to start off by typing the opening and closing select tag. Next, I'm going to add the name attribute and set its value to from. After refreshing the page, a basic drop-down list appears, although it doesn't contain any options yet. You can add options to the list using the Options tag. I'm going to insert the name of the starting point between the two tags and refresh the page. The drop-down list now contains one option. Using the clipboard, I'll insert a couple of other options and do a refresh. Once we click on the drop-down list, we can see that it's been extended by the added options, from which I can now choose. How do I improve the arrangement of the drop-down list? I can divide the options into several groups. I'd like to group the airports by continent. The OPTGROUP tag is used to group options together. First, I'm going to create a group of European airports. I'll enclose the option element with the opening and closing OPTGROUP tag. Finally, a label needs to be added to the group. To achieve this, all I need to do is add the label attribute to the opening OPTGROUP tag. The group only contains European airports, so I'm going to type Europe as the value. Finally, I'm going to refresh the page and click on the drop-down list. As we can see, European airports have now been placed in a group with its own label. To create a group of American airports, I'm going to repeat the process. Once again, I'm going to enclose the group within the OPTGROUP element. This time I'll set the value of the label attribute to United States. After refreshing the page, we see a well-arranged list of airports within the drop-down list. And how do I add a label to the drop-down list? One option is to type the label right next to the select element. We've been using this method so far, and as you can see it works just fine. A much better way, though, would be to use the special label element. This element's sole purpose is adding labels to forms. But how do I link the label to a particular form element? First, we assign an ID to the target element. After doing so, a unique identifier will be assigned to the drop-down list. The value is arbitrary. I'm going to set it to from. I'm going to insert the for attribute into the opening label tag. In order for the label to be associated correctly, the value of the for attribute must match the ID of the target element. I'm going to type from between the quotation marks. All I have to do now is add the actual text of the label between the opening and the closing label tag. I'm going to type flying from and perform a page refresh. As we can see, the drop-down list has now been labeled by the label element. Keep in mind that the label element can be used to add a description to any other form element. If we look at the select list in its rolled-up state, we can see that only the first option is visible. Now I'm going to show you how to change this standard setting. The size attribute, which is assigned to the opening select tag, is going to prove useful here. In between the quotation marks, I'm going to insert number 5, for instance. After refreshing the browser, we can see the changes. The first 4 options and the label are now visible, and the select list cannot be opened any further. It has become a scroll-down list through which we can move using the scroll bar on its right side. Still, I like the classic drop-down list better. I'm going to set the size attribute to 1 and perform a refresh. The scroll-down list has turned into a drop-down select list. I'll be looking forward to seeing you at the next lesson.